Welcome to Mad About Money. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, and this is the podcast that is Mad About Money. I'm here with the lovely Louisa Willcox, who is a money strategist for female entrepreneurs, both business and personal. And I did do it in one go, and I'm really now proud of myself. Louisa, thank you. It was a little bit. Strategist is quite a hard word to say, I think. But it's lovely to have you with us. Really great. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me on as well. It's great to be here. So as you said, my name's Louisa and I'm a money strategist for female entrepreneurs. So I like to help women to understand their money because as females, we tend to shy away from our finances quite a lot, usually because we've been made to feel ashamed about our money. There's a lot of mansplaining, and the financial world itself is very men in suit. And I'm a qualified bookkeeper, so I've been doing it for about 8 years, been running my business for about 2.5 years now, self-employed. And within the space, I just hear of so many women who say, oh, I really struggle with my finances, can you help? And I've done like some trade shows and things in the past, obviously advertise my bookkeeping, and the amount of women that I had come up to me and say, oh, I've got a male accountant, but I don't like to ask them this because they've made me feel a little bit like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really good at my business. They make me feel like I'm stupid because I don't understand the financial side. So this is why I expanded into my money strategy for female entrepreneurs, because it's so important we understand our numbers, and that's within your personal and your business life as well. Because obviously when you're an entrepreneur, everything you earn within your business, you take home into your personal life. So you need to know both of them, and that's about the budgeting and working your money in advance, such as your cash flow, and just knowing how to actually look at your numbers to create more profit within your business too.
Absolutely. It is so important. And I have to say, I've got a male accountant. He is lovely. He's one of our specialists for the Mad About Money app, but we're hoping that you're going to join us as well. So I think there's most definitely an area that is not covered there. Female finance is different. And I think because our brains work differently to men's as well. So very good what you're doing. So Louise, I'm going to ask you what I ask every single person that comes on this podcast. What is your money story?
My money story, oh god, it's going back a little bit. So I become a single mum. So I fell pregnant at 19 and very quickly become a single mum at the age of 20. And yeah, I was obviously raising my son by myself, and it was really hard. So I was working full time. I was in a council house, I was on benefits, and pretty much all of my money went on nursery bills. It was over £1,000 a month just to be able to go to work. We all know what it's like. And some months I would like to say I was living paycheck to paycheck, but I wasn't. There were some months I couldn't even afford to feed myself. And I worried about keeping a roof over my son's head. And I was really lucky. I had a huge support, like my family were around me, but I didn't really tell anyone what I was going through because I felt quite ashamed. And I was a little bit worried as well. I then met my husband, and we did, with my son when he was 18 months old, got diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And it really changed a lot for me because suddenly I had to learn all about being a SEN mum and what cerebral palsy actually was. He actually at the time had an alternative diagnosis called vanishing white matter disease, and there's about 100 known cases of it in the world. So it's very rare, and he became a bit of we had a lot of hospital appointments and things because they wanted to analyze and see what was happening. So I ended up going part-time, and at the time I was actually studying my bookkeeping, so I was going to night college to study, and I went part-time, and then I managed to get a bungalow through the council and moved, and then my now husband moved in with me. And finances did get better obviously when we moved in a bit together, but it was still a lot of bills, like nursery bills, and it was just really hard. And I think because of everything I went through, I really had to learn to budget and be really careful myself. And then as I sort of life went on, obviously we worked on my second son, and I ended up on sabbatical leave because my eldest son went through a major spinal operation to be able to help him walk unaided. So then we relied solely on my husband's finances at the time. When I was on sabbatical leave, I didn't get paid. And again, it was having to really budget and be really careful with money, because we then by this point had a mortgage. We had saved, worked really hard to save our mortgage. And I just didn't want my children not to be able to go to the beach and have an ice cream, or to be able to get a coffee every now and again. And it was really, really difficult. And then in COVID, I was made redundant from the accountants, just as I was meant to go back. And then I went self-employed as a bookkeeper. And I knew when I set my business up that I really wanted to be able to help people with their personal finances as well as their business. I did find that within that, although I was dealing with their accounts and I still run that business, but we didn't really get into the personal finance side. We didn't really get down into the nitty gritty like I wanted to. So I set up my money strategy business, which is what I solely focus on, the business and the personal finances. So I do answer a lot of accounting and bookkeeping questions, but it's more how to manage your money yourself and understand your numbers.
Yeah.
Because as entrepreneurs, we go into this world and we do what we do best, what we set up, what we want to do, but people don't realize that you're not just running, it could be like a VA business or something. You're not just a VA then, for example. You've actually got to be a marketer. You've got to be able to do your email list. You've got to be able to know your finances and do your books and put your year end in. And if you don't understand your money and you're not looking after your cash flow and your finances, you're never going to know if you're creating a real profit. And that's why I do what I do, and why everything I do incorporate a business finances in, because of what I've been through. And I was a single mum on benefits, working full time, and I've gone from that to married with 2 children and breadwinner of the family now, running 2 businesses. And I think if I can do it, then I can help other people do it. And we shouldn't shy away from our money, because a lot of people do. It's something we need to talk more about. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell really why I do it, and my bit of my money story there.
No, I love that. That's great. And you are so right, helping people to see where their money is at the end of the month, and business owners. I don't know why. So I am absolutely, obviously because of what I do, massively on the ball when it comes to personal finances. But business, I'm like, oh, I think it just doesn't appeal to me. And I think, having an ADHD brain, like I only do things that I enjoy doing, and I don't enjoy doing business finances in the slightest, even though it's important.
Yeah, I think the trouble is, like what I was saying about the financial world being quite male dominated and a bit of mansplaining there, is there's a lot of technical jargon. And when we do go into the finances and that, typically in the past, it's not the same anymore because the world is changing, but typically in the past it would be male accountants. And you go and talk about your money and all of this language is thrown at you. And it is, I'm a qualified bookkeeper, and I sit there and go, oh my word, like this is just overwhelming. And that's the trouble. It's the overwhelm and the fear factor. We don't want to go and ask because we feel ashamed that we don't understand it.
Yeah.
And then it is a knock-on effect. You don't look at your finances, you don't know where it's all going. And we put too much trust on people such as accountants and bookkeepers to look after our money from the beginning. But actually, we need to know this. If you don't know the basis of doing your own numbers, you won't know if your accountant or your bookkeeper is doing a good job. You won't know if you're hitting your targets that you set yourself for the year. And it's just so easy, as you know, to spend too much. And this is why I do things in a really non-technical and non-jargon way, for that reason, because I don't like it. I hate the language used around finance, and I like to help others actually understand their money. And to do that, it needs to be in a really easy to understand way.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like my old business failed for a number of reasons. I mean, the biggest one was the pandemic. But I also wasn't very good at doing the numbers, and the lady that I had actually hired to look after my numbers for me, it turns out that because I wasn't looking at them, she wasn't really looking at them either. And actually, as you say, because I wasn't looking at them and I didn't have a handle on them, I just thought she was, and I didn't know she wasn't doing a very good job. So you are very right on that. And I have learned a valuable lesson. And although I don't enjoy doing my own bookkeeping and my numbers now, I do look at them a lot.
Yeah.
So I watch to see what's going in. And I've now got a Tide bank account, and I'm actually loving Tide because when stuff comes in, you can put labels on it, and you can have separate pots for different things, which is quite useful. But yeah, I think I'm so much more aligned with where I need to be. And the targets are so important because you need something to work for as a business owner. Otherwise, how do you know if you're improving?
Well, it's not just that. A lot of people spend like January and February looking, or even December, looking at their business strategy for the year. And they go, oh, I want to get this many people, I want to earn this much, like 100,000 in a year. But if you don't know how to work that out and to work it backwards, and then you're not looking at your finances alongside it, how are you ever going to know you've hit that target? Like when I set up my bookkeeping business, for me in the beginning, it was very much a case of, well, I want to bring a few £100 extra in a month to help towards the household bills, because I'd been on sabbatical leave. I hadn't really been contributing a huge amount, like in a financial sense. And I'm a very independent person. I hated that. And, you know, I really believe we should have, everyone should have financial independence. We all should be able to look after ourselves and not have to need someone. There's a difference between needing and wanting someone, and I don't think we should ever have to need someone and rely on someone. So especially as women as well, because, you know, they actually reckon that in the next few years 75% of the entrepreneurial world will be female-led businesses. But 1 in 3 women are still financially dependent on their partner. And I think that's a really scary statistic that we need to change. And to make our businesses successful, to be able to have our personal finances, we need to know the numbers. So we spend all this time working on our business strategy when actually you need to have a financial strategy running alongside it. You need both for it to actually work properly, so you know when you're hitting those targets. Because when I set my bookkeeping business up to earn a few £100s a month, I actually hit that quite fast, but I then carried on going like, oh, I need to get that, and then it wasn't until I sat and looked back and went, oh, hang on a second, I got that 6 months ago, so where am I now going with my business? So it helps you to keep really aligned and to know exactly how you're going to, which direction you want to go and how you want to get there. So it is a lot involved within it, but it does help you to keep like a clear mind onto what path you even want to go.
That makes total sense, really does. So what's next for you then?
For me, okay, so Jace, my eldest son, who's got cerebral palsy, he's got to have a double hip reconstruction in June.
Oh,
so he had his it's been a bit of a shock this year. So he had his first major operation in 2019 to help him walk unaided, and that was on his spine, called selective dorsal rhizotomy. And he's been doing really well with rehabilitation, and a year ago he was walking independently, when at 18 months old I was told he'd be fully wheelchair bound by now, basically, because he's 9.5. So we really pushed for that operation. He's been doing really well. And then in December, I noticed he wasn't walking, and I thought he had muscle strain. So I was taking him to a masseuse, and I'm like, come on, you've got to keep moving, mate, let's keep going. And his physio put him in for an x-ray, and turns out his left leg is 70% out of his hip bone. So he needs to have a double hip reconstruction, and this is why he stopped walking. So for me, it's been really hard, and, you know, just trying to support him. But for me, like from a business side, I think it wasn't until really a few weeks ago that it kind of hit properly, after having a conversation with the surgeon and school about things, how much of an impact it's obviously going to have, not just like for him, but obviously for us as well, like myself and my husband. And I realized, and I talk on like my podcast that I do recently, I spoke about making sure that you have a vision and a business vision, because I realized that when I set my bookkeeping up, I actually set it up originally, one, obviously to create a business, and because I knew that being employed wasn't an option for me. Because of Jace having cerebral palsy, he's got a lot of hospital appointments, and my youngest as well has asthma, and I was in and out of hospital with him all the time. And about a year I spent every single week in hospital with him with his breathing. And I knew that I just wouldn't be able to be employed. It wasn't an option. I just wouldn't be able to keep a job. So I went self-employed. But I did that to be able to be flexible around my children and my family, because that's what I want. And obviously within all this, I need to look after my own self as well, because
you do. I was just going to say, when do you get time for you? Bless you.
Well, I go to boxing on a Tuesday. It's great, so it's fine, and I run quite a lot. So for me, fitness, because like you, I'm actually going through ADHD diagnosis, and for me to keep my mind calm, I do fitness. That's how I work it. But also, just before COVID, which is a whole new different conversation, I almost had a mental health breakdown. So for me, this is something like looking after myself is really like important, and it's probably one of my top priorities. So recently I actually sat there and I went, right, my bookkeeping business is going really well. So I went limited last year, and I've gone back registered, and it's been absolutely great. But I actually realized I'd stepped away from my personal business vision then. And although I was running a thriving business where I was actually about to take on a member of staff, I wasn't as flexible as I wanted to be for my family. So I took the time to look at it and go, actually, hang on, yes, it's really successful, it's doing well, but it's being successful in business, not in my personal life. So I took the step back, and I've actually reduced my client base, and I'm completely changing the whole way I'm structuring my bookkeeping business, and I'm concentrating more on my money strategy, because I love my bookkeeping, but I want to be able to help people on a more personal level, and the money strategy, I can do that, but also it's quite flexible around my children. So, and I put out like my programs, and I can help people a lot more that way, but I can do it around my kids and the hospital appointments. So that's kind of where things are looking for me now, and I'm really pushing that, hoping to get some more in-person events and do more podcasts like this one, and just get out there. Really, I absolutely love it.
Oh, amazing. I'm so sorry that you're going through all that stuff though. That must be so hard. Like, I mean, I'm glad that you're looking after your mental health, and you're looking at like does fitness for it, because I'm about to I say I'm about to go on a fitness journey myself. Like I've got ADHD, perimenopause, autoimmune disease, brain that really hates exercise, doesn't really want to do it, but when I do it, I really enjoy it, and I think it's probably a good thing to do.
So for me, exercise, people say about exercise for to lose weight, and that's nothing. It's not that at all. For me, it's not about weight. For me, it's all about mental health. And if I tone up a bit, yeah, that's absolutely great, but it's all mental health for me. So before I exercised, I know that I get very stressed. I don't sleep well. I do suffer. So, but just before COVID, I was having severe panic attacks that hospitalized me, like really severe ones. And, I go off track a little bit with my eating and that. And I admit I am a huge chocolate and cake lover. I love my sweet treats more than I love my savoury.
We might be the same person.
Honestly, I could sit and eat cake all day and not even think about it.
Same.
But when I exercise, I immediately feel calmer. My mind feels calmer, and it gives me the time and the freedom just away, just to go and just be. And it doesn't even, sometimes I listen to podcasts, sometimes it's music, but just sometimes I just listen to the animals around me. But it is just, for me, it really works in calming the body down. And I know when I haven't done it for a week, because I start getting really stressed out and all the rest of it, and then I get snappy towards my husband, and I can feel it. Then I go for a run, and immediately I feel better, and it just sets me on a good track. So I haven't this year, so I've slacked. I have slacked, and I stupidly signed up for the London Marathon last night. So good, wish me luck, because I'm completely not on top of my running. So now I'm on a huge training thing, just in case I get in. I know, crazy, I know, but that's the ADHD spontaneous brain.
Oh, I really hope you
sign up for London Marathon. We'll see where it goes.
I'm assuming you're going to do it for cerebral palsy.
Yes, yeah, it'll be for
our
we've got a fundraising page just for children called Jace's SDR Journey, and I'll be doing it for that. So to help fundraise for his physio and aftercare, because of his op, so we have to pay for private physio to make sure he gets the most out of it. So we're going to be fundraising for that. So a year ago I was a lot more on top of my fitness, and this year I haven't been, and I can feel it.
This will help you.
Yeah, and I think like when you go on your journey as well, you will notice the difference. You will notice, and you know what, it really helps, because you won't mind eating more cake, because you go, it's all right, I burnt those calories.
I never mind eating more cake.
No.
So, yeah, and it's I think I've got to the stage where like I don't feel like I'm all there mind-wise.
Yeah. I think the trouble is, doing what we do, we're sat down quite a lot as well. And I've got quite severe scoliosis.
I do too. We are the same person.
Yeah, I think we are. You just got more colourful hair than me. It's great.
You need to get on it. Get some colourful hair.
I know. I am getting it dyed soon, so you never know. So I do, alongside, I actually go to my masseuse, who I absolutely love. I see her every 6 weeks, because if I don't, my back, I'm in a lot of pain with my back, but it's a knock-on effect. If I don't exercise, I can feel it in my body. But when I do exercise, I do get muscle pain, but I manage it with the regular massaging. And that for me is my self-care, because I do have a full body instead of just a back, neck and shoulders. I have to have a full body, obviously. If you're going to do it right. So I treat myself.
Hell yeah.
But it keeps my body moving, because I like being bookkeeping, my money strategy, I'm sat behind the computer quite a lot, and we definitely don't move as much as we should.
No.
And you can tell.
So let's talk a little bit about how you budget for self-care then, because like massages aren't cheap. Is that something that you think about when you're planning for your finances throughout the month? I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, and whenever I go through budgeting with anyone, I always say that you have to include self-care in that, because I don't see self-care as something like a luxury. For me, it's a necessity.
Yes.
And You know, if you can pay for a TV subscriptions like Sky or Netflix, why can't you pay for your own self-care to look after yourself? And it doesn't have to be much. It could just be £20 to go out for a meal once a month with a friend, whatever self-care is to you. But it is a necessity, because your mental health, you know, we talk all the time about looking after our body, like the exercise, but we don't talk enough. Then we are beginning to, we don't talk enough about the mental health side. And if you're looking after your mental health, then you haven't got you at the end of the day. And I've been in that place with severe panic attacks to the point I couldn't leave the room. I didn't eat properly for a year because mine developed after developing a nut allergy at the age of 26. So I didn't eat properly for a year because I was scared of eating food. And I've been in that place where I couldn't take my children out without going into full-blown panic attack. And I just think, if you don't look after you, you can't look after anyone else. You can't look after your business. You can't look after your kids. You can't be there for other people. So don't just pour from half a cup. You need your cup all the way full. So yeah, for me, self-care is a household budget, and that's for everyone, not just me. It's for my husband. It's for my kids. It is very much a necessity.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I have a fun fund, and within my fun fund, I have a massage folder, I have a nails folder, I've got like all of these things. And I if I don't have enough money to put in it at the end of the month, then I sell stuff so that I top it up.
Yeah.
It's always full. There's always stuff. And I've got my my coin pot, which is actually, it's now at the brim now, which I'm quite excited about. This is mainly pound coins. So
That's
I'm
great.
like, so I'm like, that is my my saving up for a spa day fund.
Brilliant.
So I'm quite excited about it, because I think when it gets to the top, there's going to be about 130 quid in there, I think, which is just
Be a nice
about.
spa day.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go on my own as well. Just take a book, not have to talk to anybody, just go and focus and zone in on me and my stuff. So yeah, it's quite exciting. But I think you have to budget for fun. If you don't budget for fun and self-care, then you're going completely wrong. And also I think for people who enjoy spending, especially ADHD people, because you know we know it gives us that dopamine boost. Like, it means that we can spend without having the guilt afterwards. Because I don't know about you, but I know that if I go and spend money on something that I haven't planned for, I don't feel good about it. And that actually affects my mental health more.
I used to, until I worked a lot on my money mindset. And I think a couple of years ago, I'd have felt really guilty. I'm not as bad now. And I kind of accept that, you know, I work really hard and it's okay to actually spend it. But yeah, I mean, I bought a new dress and some shoes recently. And when it came through the post, I was a bit like, oh, I probably shouldn't have got these, because I didn't really need a new pair of shoes, but they are beautiful and lovely. And I didn't really need the dress, but again, it's beautiful and lovely. And it's going to look fantastic when I go on my next night out. But it is very much a case of, did I actually need it? No. But did I want it? Yes, I did. So yeah, there is that guilt. But I do think you have to enjoy life too. We're not just here. We've got to enjoy it. When you work hard and you do things, you need to make sure you actually go and enjoy it. So yeah, don't try not to feel guilty. And it's we do. I mean, I can go and spend quite easily on my kids, but as soon as it comes to myself, no, shouldn't have spent that on myself.
Do you know what? I've got a theory when it comes. So I bought these shoes, and I love these shoes. These are my brand new shoes. And I wanted them. I saw them. They popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and I normally have some pretty good kind of coping mechanisms for me spending. So I will put something in my basket and I will wait for 48 hours before I buy it, because that's me telling me that whether or not I actually want it, or whether or not it's just my brain going, you need that right now. So that's the first thing. I did not do that with these shoes. All of my methods just blew out of the window. I still had to go and get my card, because I don't have my card linked to anything. So if I need to buy something online, I have to physically go and get my wallet, and I have to physically type in the numbers. There's no like linked cards, there's no saved cards, no Amazon, no nothing. Because that's my protective thing. But I bought these shoes and I said to myself, I'm going to wear them every single day of the rest of my life because I love them and I don't care. And everybody that I've come across has said to me what beautiful shoes they are. And they asked how much they were. And my answer is not very much at all, because every time you wear something, in my mind, it halves. So I spent 40 quid on these shoes, but by the second time I'd worn them, they were 20 quid. By the third time I'd worn them, it had halved again. So actually they were 10. So now they're free because I've worn them so much. So I don't feel guilty about wearing them anymore.
Yeah.
And that is a really good way to cope with whether or not you made the right decision. If you buy something and you don't ever wear it, that's when you've made a really bad decision.
Yeah, because it's not useful.
Because it's not useful.
It's the things that we see pop up and we do buy for the women and it just sits on a shelf. It's
Yeah.
a bit like
I
my
think
shoes
these-
and my dress, but they will
Yeah.
get worn.
They will. And I feel like now these shoes are an extension of my feet. I'm going to sleep in them and everything. So it's fine.
You might
Louisa,
need to get another pair.
yeah, do you know what I'm just really lucky, and I did go and search to see if they had rainbow ones, because I have a thing, it's either rainbows or zebras, like, and they didn't have any rainbow ones, and as soon as they do, and now Facebook's going to start marketing me
It's heard you.
because I'm talking about it. Damn you, Facebook. That's how it works. But yeah, I mean, I think I would love some rainbow shoes. If anyone can find me some some like rainbow high tops, just send me some. Like
Get some Sharpies and colour in between the lines.
Do you know what they used to do? Those shoes, those plain white ones that you could make your. Oh yeah,
Still
that's
do.
Do they?
Do some tie-dye dipping or something.
Do they do them for adults?
I've no idea.
God, I bet they do.
You can make them a thing.
This is not good, Louisa. Stop it.
Sorry.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show, but it has been absolutely lovely to have you on. Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm all over the place. I even have TikTok now, and I have done a few of the dancing, jumpy, singy song things. So please
do not need to do
don't
that.
judge me. Don't judge me. I love it.
If you love it, then do it.
It's sad, but I do. I love it. It's hilarious. So I like making a fool out of myself because it makes everyone else smile. So
It does. Yeah.
you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Facebook, my group is Managing My Money, and on Instagram, TikTok, it's Louisa Willcox Strategist, and that's Willcox with 2 L's and Louisa, not Louise, as well. And I'm on LinkedIn as Louisa Willcox, and my main Facebook page is Louisa Willcox as well. I'm all over the shop, everywhere.
Wherever. Amazing. And the Mad About Money app, you're going to be there as well. So
yes, it would be great.
for anybody who is listening to this podcast on YouTube or on Spotify or Apple Music, then you know that the place you need to be is the Mad About Money app. If you're listening to the Mad About Money app, you're already there, so that's great news. But we do cost of living giveaways every single month. It's filled to the brim with money experts, finance specialists, business specialists, and it's for both consumers and business owners. So go to madaboutmoneyofficial.co.uk for more information. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, and this has been Mad About Money. We'll see you next week.